Welcome to Speechless, the customer experience podcast that leaves us without words. From the amazing customer experiences that we've seen to those cringe-worthy experiences that we all know. We will look at all of these experiences and understand how people are treated by businesses and how people remember those businesses. We won't be mentioning any brands by name to maybe praise the worthy, but to also protect the guilty. I'm Matthew Storm, and I'm speechless. Today I have a very special guest, but before I introduce my guest, I just want to read you something that I wrote about this person's business. I've been a patron of their business for quite some time, but I'll just start off by reading you this. When you think of customer experience, you immediately think of your barbershop, right? Growing up in a small town in Oklahoma, my memories of a barbershop included smoke-filled waiting areas, a sweet smell of shaving cream and talcum, dirty magazines in the back, and my grandfather and my father chatting about the price of wheat with the barbers. As you shared local town gossip while waiting for the one-size-fits-all haircut, my hometown barbershop called Gent's was the go-to place for every man with hair in our county. Fast forward today, I'm actually sitting outside the Dallas Cowboys headquarters in suburbia, having an Irish coffee at the Gent's Place, which is a great name, by the way, while talking whiskey and the state of our football team. Things are the same, but things are different. Today, I have a membership portal to schedule out my every 2-week haircut, text messages to make last-minute changes, monthly happy hours, free beer and whiskey, the friendliest staff ever, a hangout spot with my friends, and a free neck shave between visits. Do I pay a premium? Hell yeah. But I keep coming back for the experience. The shaving cream and the talcum powder smells exactly the same, and I think of my grandfather every time I stop in. So today, welcome, Ben Davis.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me today, man.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. You know, I wrote that and I posted that on LinkedIn in my Facebook group, and that was probably a year and a half or so ago. I've been a customer for about 9 years. But tell me about the Gent's Place and what you do.
Yeah, so we call ourselves a luxury barber and business club. Intentionally don't use the word barber shop because it may bring back really good memories like you have, and then other people have a really negative association with barbershop.
Sure.
So words matter, so we call ourselves a luxury barber and business club, and I like to tell people, imagine a country club meets a speakeasy meets a barber shop. Right, kind of all three of those things in one. If you kind of take the best of those three and roll it all up, then I think it captures pretty much everything you mentioned in that post, right?
Exactly.
But we're a membership-based concept. You can buy a monthly or an annual membership. And as you mentioned, you can come in, meet with your friends. A lot of these guys show up 30 minutes early for their services. They'll get on a laptop or just hang out. They'll get their service, and then they'll hang out for 20, 30 minutes, an hour. Some guys are in here all day. We're in the lounge right now. I mean, I've caught gentlemen in here regularly taking naps. So
Sure. Why not?
But, to steal from Howard Schultz at Starbucks, he invented this third place. So
Sure.
If Starbucks is still your third place, we'll be your fourth. If you don't have a Starbucks in your life, then we're a third place for, kind of successful, affluent, discerning gentlemen, not necessarily income-based, but people that just value looking and feeling their best. Like, we're the best fit for them.
Sure. Wonderful. Well, I was immediately attracted to it. Whether it's the barbershop name or not, I fell in love with that. It's that hot shave. The hot shave on the back of your neck is the difference maker for me. And from every place I've lived, that's something that I've looked for, because I don't want speed. I don't want something super silly or fun. I just want something really high quality and that hot shave. So that's always been important to me. And so being a customer now for 9 years, one of the things that I've noticed here is that a lot of the experiences that I have here really have left me speechless, because not to lift you up too much, but there are a lot of little touches that I notice that are the things that I miss from other places. Okay, someone intentionally put that glass there, put that chair there, or they set the music that way, or they have this kind of whiskey with this kind of ice, whatever it might be. Tell me about some of the touches that you've made intentionally that you think that customers really like and they come to expect.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that you can see physically. I think our secret sauce and what really makes us special is those things that you can't see, which is with intention deciding what business we're in. We can either be in the haircut business or we can be in something else. For us, we're in the business of selling emotions, positivity and confidence and empowerment. The haircut's just the vehicle that gets the door open because guys have hair that they need cut. But what we're really doing is we're putting people in a more positive, confident, empowered emotional state. And so how that shows up is the conversations that we have, for example. The questions that we ask lead a conversation in a certain direction with intention. So, you could come in and I could ask you what you do for a living, and if you like it, what if you don't like it? What if you're like, no, I really don't like my job. I'm leading you down a path that's probably not more positive, confident, and empowering. Or I could ask you, Matthew, what do you do for a living? And you let me know. And then I say, well, what do you love most about what you do? And then that controls your focus to, even if you hated your job, you're going to answer that question.
Sure.
Right? Well, I guess, I make good money. Okay, great. What do you love to blow your money on that you really shouldn't, right? And then we get into these fascinating conversations about watch collections and car collections and things that they love most in their life. So I tell my team members, no matter who you run into, no matter what you run into, if you can consistently help the member live the best moments of their life in our presence, we win. And very few businesses, I would argue, none are as focused on that as we are. Some people are really focused on serving the best cup of coffee. Some people are really focused on being nice to people. But we're focused on helping them live the best moments of their life. And when you do that, you will leave every time, all the time, no exceptions, feeling better.
Sure.
And so that's a focus. So all these little nuances, it's different. It's not all of it systemized. Some of it is. We're looking for opportunities for the team member to do something that we've never even heard of before. Like, that's a great idea because it aligned with making people feel something.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, and there are often little things that I see companies do really well that are so intentional like that. How do you go about, explaining that to someone, getting that into the vernacular of how they speak or how they act? I mean, you can't just walk in, have a 2-hour training class at the Gent's place, and then you're cutting hair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, what are some tips that you would give someone who is developing a customer experience type of atmosphere of how to like make that part of the system?
Yeah, I think of the word aptitude. Someone's capacity to get to where you want them to go. Do they have the ability to do that? Not if they're there right now. If we're trying to hire people that are exactly where we need them to be right now, we're going to not hire anybody. My wife says it best that like we're having to continue to kind of finish and in some cases raise people, because parenting isn't very good, education isn't very good. I mean, a college degree today is worth kind of less than it was before in many cases. There's so many college degrees out there that are easy to get.
Sure.
I'm looking for someone that has that desire and capacity, that aptitude to get there. And if I see that, like, I really want to be my best. I may have come from a broken home, may have had all these crazy things, but I want to break the cycle. I want to be my best. I want to get there. And they have the ability to do that. We'll take that person in because we can create a path for them and say, well, okay, if you do this and then you do this and you do this, you'll get there. And it might take 6 months or 12 months or 18 months or 5 or 10 years or whatever it is. We have a team member here. She's been with us for over 10 years. She applied, did the working interview, which is like the technical haircut, didn't pass it. But she had a desire to be here. She was like, I want to work here. They go, great. Go somewhere else for 6 months. I call them the XYZ clips joints. Go mess up people's hair and come back. 6 months later, she came back. She did the technical again, and we're like, you're almost there. but you need like a few more months. Go back and come back again. She came back again. She's been with us for over 10 years. She's one of our busiest team members here.
Wow.
So for me, you can teach skill set. We can refine that, but I haven't figured out a way to teach values, and teach, someone being passionate about. I can't teach you how to be passionate about this career, this opportunity. So that's it for me. I look for that kind of the gleam in their eyes, like the true desire to get there. And then once they come in, there is a training system. There is a methodology. We have a weekly personal and professional development. Every week we do a Zoom call, and then they have to submit 3 things they learned from that Zoom call. It's required. You either have to attend it live or listen to the recording. And so it's like a muscle. Like, hey, if you want to be here, we're just letting you know there's an hour of personal and professional development. You're not cutting hair. You block yourself off. You're not making any tips. We practice what we preach. We bring in guest speakers. Ben will talk. We'll teach you how to read a profit and loss statement. Like, what is that? I mean, we cover everything. We have all of these recordings over 13 years, hour by hour, every week. And so we need someone that says, that's what I want. Instead of, really? I have to do that? That's like the bifurcating point of like, you can cut hair like Vidal Sassoon or whoever the greatest hairdresser that ever walked. If you don't want to spend an hour a week getting better, like in your mind, then you're just not a good fit for it.
Sure. So you mentioned profit and loss statements and things like that. And okay, well, here's our new thing that we're doing. And so how important is it to explain to someone in the world of customer experience the why, or okay, we're going to ask you to do this, and here's the reason why. It's not just okay, we're going to ask you to, would you like fries with that? Or would you like to upsize that? Or, we hear those phrases, or the extended warranties and all the things that can be added on. And we know that, okay, this is an upsell. But what about the things that don't seem like something that I'm being sold on, but you're asking one of your teammates to do and explaining the why? Is that pretty important to you as well?
Absolutely. The military calls them SOPs, standard operating procedures. I'm a big sports fan, so we call them playbooks. So we have everything that's important to us documented in a playbook. Every playbook has a purpose statement or a why. This is what you need to do. This is why we're doing it. Every single one of them does. Because they're probably asking that, especially if it looks like micromanagement on the surface. We have what's called an always never list. Words we always use and words we never use. For example, we don't call our grooming specialist hairstylist. We call them grooming specialist. Okay. We don't allow them to refer to themselves as hairstylist because there's a positive or negative, kind of going back to barbershop, anchor to that word. Hairstylist means something to some people, and we don't want to get caught up in that.
Sure.
Right? So grooming specialist, we would rather someone ask, well, what does that mean? Or what is a barber and business club? It's why we don't ever use shop.
Yeah.
We use club. So we walk them through that and we teach them why. Words have meaning. Words generate emotions. If you say shop, people might think, well, that's probably like a cheap haircut place. Some people might think, that's cool. That's where my grandpa reminds me of my grandpa.
Sure.
Could be positive or negative. We can't leave that to chance.
Sure.
So everything we put out, all of the playbooks, is why. When we're doing our training, it's why. Because we know that when they run into something they haven't seen before, they're consciously or subconsciously going, why do we have to say that? Why can't I call myself a hairstylist? Oh, it's right here. We knew you were going to ask that. It's right here.
Yeah, we know exactly why. Very nice, very nice. And any specifics of, or an example of when you've, one of those SOPs, if you will, something in your playbook that is, that was a harder why to explain, that just like, this has a deeper meaning, but we picked it up from a member, or we picked it up in, just in our past life. Any example where you thought, right, this is going to be a hard explanation as to why, but it's really going to, pay dividends.
There's pretty much like our whole business is like that because we're so different. So even not allowing you to refer to yourself as a hairstylist or a cosmetologist. Cosmetologist is the licensed term used for who you are. It's like doctor. Like we're not gonna allow you to call yourself doctor. But I am a doctor.
Yeah.
I am a cosmetologist. We're like, no, you have a cosmetologist license. That's not your identity, right? So just that alone was hard early on. Oh, you can't call myself a cosmetologist. I can't call myself a hairstylist. So it's as little as that to the bigger things of, okay, we're not in the haircut business. They're like, what? That's what I do. What do you mean? We're not in the haircut business. We're not. That's just what allows the door to open.
Sure.
We're actually in the business of selling emotions. And they're like, oh, come on. I go, yeah, I know. And get this, we're actually changing the world. They're like, oh, okay, this guy's insane.
Exactly.
I'm 19 years old. I just want to cut hair.
Yeah.
So it's like literally everything that we do was very difficult. It was another hurdle. And I had many years ago, this was 13, 14 years ago, I had people that were so sick of it, like more than half my team walked out in the middle of a shift, including my two front desk people, my concierge. I had to work the front desk. Like, fortunately, I lived down the street from my house, but they were like, your compensation system is broken. Hairstylists need to make commission. That's how they work. Your benefits aren't meaningful. We don't care about 401k and health insurance. We just need to get paid more money, right? We don't save for retirement. We don't value that. Making us talk a certain way, that doesn't work. Making us dress a certain way, that doesn't work. And I had this group of people categorically tell me, like, you're going to fail and you don't understand because you're not a hairstylist. Because I'm not a licensed cosmetologist or barber.
Sure.
So I had like severe rejection of the business model and everything I thought. And it made me think, oh my gosh, do we need to pay commission? Are we being too hard? And I go, I can't imagine doing it any other way. I just felt like I was right. But yeah, it was painful. It was really painful early on. Now we've got people that protect the business. Someone like Kinsey, who's been here for over 13 years, managing this business, another team member over 10 years, another one 6, 7, 8 years. Average manager tenure 8.5 years. They protect the business model. So now when that person comes in, they're like, grooming specialist, and this and that. They're like, you're not going to work out here unless you get on this.
Absolutely. By the way, shout out to Jessica. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So let me shift gears here because one of the things that I love to study is the repetitive nature of customer service. That if you're a flight attendant, it's the same thing. It's, what would you like to drink? What would you like to drink? Put up your seat, put up your tray table, Sap your seatbelt, seat backs or seat backs. And it's just the same thing, thousands of times a day. I think about that with the grooming specialist at the Gent's place because it's just, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, this is what I'm doing. Oh, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, I'm doing this weekend. And then it's, really, any special plans? Oh no, these special plans. So, how's your week been? This is what your week been. And then you multiply that times, I don't know, 8, 10, 15 times a day. So how do you teach someone that, and maybe they do this in cosmetology school, is how do you teach someone the bedside manner? I guess that would be the chairside manner of having this just same mundane blah 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 conversation with a customer or a member that many times a day.
Yeah.
Is there a secret to that?
Yeah, we go back to what we call empowering questions. Empowering questions will leave the door open to anything they want to talk about, but that is positively focused, that focus on the best parts of their life. So going back to these conversations where we're asking what you do for a living, what do you love most? That leaves the door wide open. It allows them to be creative. It's not like, are you doing anything this weekend? Yes or no. So it's not just an open-ended question. It's an empowering question because it eliminates all the possibilities for a negative, disempowering conversation because we're asking them, what do you love most? This weekend, right? What are you looking forward to this weekend? Not, are you doing something this weekend?
Sure.
Last weekend, was last weekend good? Or how was last weekend? To what was the best part of last weekend? It controls the brain to best. The brain is hearing best. It's hearing favorite, right? It's hearing these things that will trigger in them an opportunity to share something great. And so with that, you get a big variety of conversations that happen. And so we just try to plant the seed and then let it grow wherever it wants, as long as it's in the direction that we want it to go. So
Sure.
the inverse is true too. We would never do this, but this is the power of questions. If you came in and were like, hey, what was the worst thing that's happened to you this weekend?
Yeah.
Your brain would go there.
Sure.
Even if you didn't want it to. Like, I don't really want to talk about that. Well, what's the worst fight you and your wife have ever had? Like, oh my gosh, no, please. You can't get out of it. That's the power of questions. We say questions are the answer. The quality of questions that we ask determine the quality of answers that we get. It moves the conversation in a certain direction. So that's where the variety comes from. It comes from our members sharing these stories going, gosh, I haven't thought about that. Oh, you're married? Where'd you two go on your honeymoon? Tell me about that. What's the best vacation you've taken since your honeymoon? And you go, I haven't thought about this in years, but we actually went to Fiji and then this and then this and then this and then this happened. He's like, oh man, it's crazy. I haven't thought about that.
So it's not always just, impromptu or spontaneous type of questions. They're very intentional. What questions get asked, where the conversation's going. I'm sure sometimes it could be therapeutic if it's, if a member starts talking about, their life or their job loss or their divorce or something like that. But for the most part, it sounds like it's being intentional about leading those conversations. Is that right?
It's being intentional. And what you'll find in our industry is a hairstylist that just cuts hair is kind of level one. What do? I cut hair. Then the next level, if they haven't been trained, like in our system, they'll say, I'm a therapist. And we're like, oh, cool. What's a therapist? They're like, I ask questions and let my clients just unload and just release. And I'm like their therapist, but I cut their hair. And I'm like, that sounds miserable. They're like, what? Why? They need a place to do that. I'm like, yeah. You know where they need to go? Their therapist.
Yeah, exactly. Not here.
Not here.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So we and then the third level is basically this hairstylist coach, aka grooming specialist, that is leading them somewhere where we want them to go, which is positive, confident, empowering, emotional state. So I'll say something really harsh as like a pattern interrupt to our grooming specialist. I'm like, I don't care how Matthew feels. I don't care how any of these guys feel. And they're like, what? I thought you care about how everyone feels. I'm like, no, I don't care how these guys feel when they come in. I care about how we're going to make them feel, how we're going to help them feel when they leave. I care about how they feel when they leave, not when they come in. I don't care about that.
Sure.
Right? You and your wife are in a fight. I don't care. I am going to look for this opportunity, right? And when you get really good at it, you see it as an opportunity. Like, oh, it's my grumpy client. He has no idea what's about to happen to him. Instead of, it's my grumpy client. Oh man, he always puts me in a bad mood. That's powerless, right? For you to feel.
Sure.
But when you have these skills, it's like, he has no idea what's about to happen to him. He thinks he's going to come in and complain about his wife, as he always does. I have a new skill set. So it's like, Jim, welcome back. Good to see you again. Oh, I see you. And usually ask, how are you and the wife? And you know what you're going to get. And go, you know what? You're married and you've talked about your wife a lot. Where'd you two first meet?
Yeah.
Boom. It takes him back in time.
Different place. Yeah.
Totally different place. Where'd you go on your honeymoon? When did you guys start having kids? Like, and then you take them down this path. And this has happened over and over again. Now it's 17 years in. We have hundreds of stories written out.
Sure.
You wouldn't believe this. My wife and I got back together. You wouldn't believe this. I went home and I hugged my kids for the first time. And the problems I was having with my kids, you wouldn't believe it. And we're like, yeah, we would.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to wrap up with a story. I'm always going to share a good speechless story. And of course, this week, since you're here, I thought I'd share a few of them. First of all, I think that the first one takes me back to COVID. And I remember my hair as long as it's ever been, and barbershops closed and everything kind of closed down. And Texas wasn't so strict, but at the same time, things were being, cautious. As my wife says, Texans will do the right thing. Just don't tell us what to do.
Yeah.
So we were being careful. And I remember coming back from my first haircut after being really locked down and tipping my grooming specialist the quantity I would have tipped them if I had been getting haircuts for 3 months. And she was just like blown away by that. And I was just like, well, look, this is something I do. It's something that I budget for. It's something that I account for. And I'm sure you do as well in your personal life. So I just felt like it was, and just, she gave me a big hug, and it was just like, it was a really great experience. The second is, after being here after, 9-10 years now, usually around Christmas time, I'll do something, and I see members do that, just like a little extra tip or something when you get your hair cut in December. And I remember thinking that the person that I interact maybe with just as much as my grooming specialist is your concierge staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember putting a Christmas gift in one of the envelopes and giving it to one of them. And I just say, look, you know what? You get to hear what every single grooming specialist gets tipped on every single cut. And I don't know that you ever get tipped. And I want you to do that. Again, I had this hugging, like tearful expression that was like, wow, this is Christmas time. It really meant a lot. And it was just a moment. And the third one was, I remember going, about 3 or 4 of my friends come here as well. And as members, I went to one of them, had a baby shower. And I'm there at the baby shower, and I bump into someone. I was like, hey, what are you doing here? And one of your grooming, there's like, when was the last time the person who cuts your hair, the person who you gotten to know, your grooming specialist, comes to your baby shower or your wedding or something like that? It was really, really impressive. Those kinds of, you can't tell your employees, hey, by the way, on your own time, for your really important clients, find out their personal lives and go to their personal family things. I mean, that's maybe beyond your average SOP, but those were just 3 experiences that stuck out for me. And I wanted to ask you, just maybe in work or in just in life, when have you had something like an experience that you thought, wow, this even impresses me, and I'm pretty hard.
Yeah.
I notice things. So,
yeah. Well, and I want to acknowledge too that this business is about relationships between, the business and the team members here and the members that we have. And we all have choices. You can choose to go anywhere to get your hair cut, but we also have a choice at the type of members that we attract. And we look for that relationship. These guys, some of these guys that come in and one little thing goes wrong and we get this like scathing email. Now it's in Chat GPT. It's like perfectly crafted of like exactly how they're going to sue us, 17 different ways.
With
because
bullets.
perfect. And it's signed, because I don't know, we didn't have a beverage in stock or the haircut was cut too short. What I love most about this business is these gentlemen like you've been coming in for years. Like, I'll do anything for, because it is 2-way. You want the best for us and our team members. You want us to get better. You'll give us good feedback in the spirit of us getting better, not to try to shut us down or make us go out of business. You won't believe the review I'm about to write, and I'm going to make sure no one ever comes in, and it's like, dude, you don't even know me.
Yeah.
If you would have just sent me, hey, we messed up. Can you fix it? I'm like, here's my cell phone number. We'll absolutely fix it. We'll take care of it. But giving us an opportunity to do that. So anyway, I wanted to acknowledge that because it's members like you that 17 years in, I'm just as passionate, if not more passionate about what I do because of all of these relationships. This is the first location. We relocated, but we have people who have been coming in for 17 years.
Wow.
It's amazing. And we've messed up along the way. I'm sure many times with them. But it's a great relationship. So just celebrated my 20th anniversary and went to a resort, really nice resort. And I'd shared this with you before that the first night at dinner, they knew it was my anniversary. They asked, which was good. Hey, is there anything you're celebrating? And we go to dinner the first night and we get dessert and they write with chocolate syrup on the plate, welcome. And I was like, man, what a missed opportunity. They knew it was my anniversary. They could have written anything on there. They know our names. They know it was our 20th anniversary. And I mentioned to my wife, I'm like, oh, that's really cool. I said, gosh, they could have just put happy anniversary on there. They know it. They even acknowledged when I came in. And I don't know if they were listening or if someone didn't follow the playbook or whatever. The next night, we ordered dessert again. Chocolate syrup, happy 20th anniversary. And so I said, wow, okay, these guys get it. And I don't know if it was a service failure, a new person, whatever it was, but I was impressed that there was a recovery between 1 and 2. And it wasn't even a recovery. It was nice. Everything was perfect.
Maybe the first night you get the welcome. The second night you get the whatever they put in there. Celebrate.
Maybe, but and you know about this in customer service and all the case studies. The loyalty built after recovery is greater than if there was not a recovery in the first place, right? So if you could actually engineer the most perfectly loyal client, you would fail them on purpose so that you could recover and impress them. Maybe they've got it down to science, like we're gonna let this guy think we're not on our game so that we could show him we're on our game. But it created even more loyalty than if it had shown up the first night. So
and how does somebody, I would imagine, go to the reservation system and they've designed something that in that resort, the reservation system takes everyone who's coming to dinner tonight, matches it in a database to what they put in a field as to what they're celebrating, prints off a report, somebody prints that or emails it, they carry it back into the back of the house of a restaurant, they tack it up, inside of the kitchen so that, okay, here are the 8 special messages for tonight, and, maybe does that take a little extra time? Does it create a little extra syrup? Does somebody has to, design that in the system to do that? Those are the little details that really make something special because the cost isn't a lot, but it's that touch, the fact that you're telling me about it and the fact that, I'm telling you about something that I did when I got my haircut. I mean, those are memorable, I'm going to tell 10 people those stories.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'll just leave you with this. If you're listening and you want to follow some great advice, not just about grooming specialists, but about life, about customer experiences, I would encourage you to go to LinkedIn, follow Ben, follow his wife. Lauren has an amazing content, and you as well, on the kinds of experiences about customer loyalty, about customer success. And so I encourage you to do that. Follow the Gent's Place. Come find us and tell us. So you're in how many cities now? I know we started here in Frisco, but
yeah, I need to count them. We're all over Texas, so Dallas, Fort Worth area, Austin, Houston, San Antonio, Odessa. Okay. We're in Las Vegas, Bentonville, Arkansas. Our second location opening at Walmart headquarters, going to be fantastic. We are in Chicago and Kansas City. I don't know if I mentioned that. So, and then many more to come. We're maybe getting our first beach destination, which we know all the training is going to happen there. The word's already out. Like, I'm going to need to train in that location. Sure. So we may be in Florida soon.
Okay, fantastic.
And maybe South Carolina. So
awesome.
We're growing.
Well, thank you, Ben, very much. Thank you
for
having
me.
Join us for the next time.